Hello Capricorn, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, looking at your connection to the person that you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. We are looking at all three sides of the connection, your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and then also the energy in between it. This middle section is really looking at what is the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self to ultimately attract the relationships that you desire and deserve. As I do in all of my readings, I pulled the overall energy and clarified those messages as well as the overall theme for the reading, which we'll jump into in just a second, but I still have a different tarot deck I'll be pulling from for each side of this connection, as well as this advice deck that's kind of sort of in the frame that I'll be pulling from to close out the reading in the extended. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. Last thing, please remember that these are general readings. They are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and leave what does not. On that note, the whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, just know that's totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point of these readings is to take what helps you and just leave what doesn't. All right, Capricorn, let's dive in. You have on this side of this connection closure with the Ten of Cups in reverse. So I feel like this is a connection that you have dealt with, but you're having a hard time letting go of. Now, when I say that, that doesn't necessarily mean that you want to get back together with this person or that you want them back in your life. You could, okay? But I'm not saying that it necessarily has to mean that. I just feel as if you're having a hard time figuring out really, I feel like what happened, because the Ten of Cups in reverse is unmet expectations. I feel like you had a certain idea of what was going to happen or how things were going to go down, and I feel like they didn't go down the way that you expected, and now you're having a hard time figuring out what was real, what was not, or what just kind of what happened. I don't know. I feel like there's this just general what the hell just happened kind of energy. Now, this person has inevitable with the Emperor, and I'm not gonna lie, I pulled this energy and I was like, I don't know what that means. I feel like this Emperor energy is very much who this person wants to be. But then the inevitable energy kind of feels like, when at the beginning of any relationship, both people really put their best foot forward, right? There's usually the first, 3 to 6 months where both people are just kind of showing up in the best way that they know how. But then as time goes on, true colors start to come out. They're not able to really put on that mask anymore. And I feel as if it's like this person appeared to be an emperor, but it turned out that isn't really who they are, or I don't know if it's true colors, or I don't know. I feel like in some way there's still this general what the hell energy associated with this. Now, in between this connection, you have I am their light with the Tower here. So I do feel like this Tower, it's an emotionally charged event, something that happens that kind of seems as if everything is falling apart. Now, with this I am their light energy, I feel like you were really trying to be a source of light for this person, trying to be there for them, to love them, to care for them. And I feel like it's interesting because there was this idea of who you thought that they were. So you were willing to be this light. But then something happened, right? A switch happened. They changed up on you. And I feel like you were still holding on to the person that they first showed up as, even though they weren't really that person anymore. And it just led to, I don't know if it necessarily led to the Tower, or if the Tower itself was inevitable. I'm not exactly sure here, but I do feel like you were very much trying to be a source of light for this person. Now, the overall theme of this reading is release your ex. It says, the time has come to clear your energy. So the way that I view this is, I do feel like you and this person are still very energetically connected. And I feel if new love is ever going to come in for you, whether it's with this person or not, the current connection that you have has to be severed. This connection that you have with this person as of right now, because I don't feel like it's healthy. I don't know. whatever it is, how things stand, like I feel like the current connection that you have is part of the reason why, going back to what I said at the beginning, like you're kind of having a hard time letting go in some way, or having a hard time finding closure, I think is a good way of saying that. So we got a lot to talk about. Let's start, Capricorn, with your side of this connection. You have closure with the Ten of Cups in reverse. This is Capricorn side of the connection to the person they are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. That's another thing. Remember that these are about connections that you're needing to learn the most from. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a connection you're currently dealing with, or it doesn't necessarily even mean that it's a connection that has been like in your life recently. It could be a past connection. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. Just really try to, yes, take it as it resonates, but think outside the box too, to how this could resonate. All right, Capricorn side of this connection. The Three of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, we knew that. Things fell apart. It's like they either fell apart or they never came together in the way that you were expecting them to. Ace of Wands, Two of Cups. I feel like one of the things that's kind of drawing me to this Two of Cups card is this like light and dark energy here. You can see that. I feel like this person brought out a lot of good in you, but an equal amount of not so good. Like brought out light, happiness, joy, good things, like brought out good in you, but then I feel like to the same extent they also brought out the not so good. Maybe there was a lot of emotions, intensity associated, and it was just it's a very contrast kind of energy. Like light and dark seems to really be a theme here. It could be a mirror of your shadow, but I don't want to. It's getting a little bit ahead of myself. Okay, Capricorn side of the connection. The Emperor. So yeah, there. And then there's the King of Pentacles. So whether you're male or female, I feel like this is this energy of like you saw this person as like a match, a perfect match for you. Almost like, and I feel like who they showed up as initially, like they were. And that's why I feel like you created certain expectations, is because it's like you believed who they said they were, but not who they showed they were. Because I feel like who they ultimately showed that they were was different than who they said they were. And I'm getting that from this inevitable, like something inevitably came out, something inevitably changed. And when we're pretending to be someone we're not, or we're putting on a mask, like eventually that's going to come out. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. But yeah, you saw them as this Emperor. Capricorn side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. The Nine of Swords and the Five of Pentacles. And the Moon. Oh my goodness, okay. A lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, and a sense of loss. See, here's the thing. You've lost... How do I say this? What's been lost is who you thought that they were. And I think that that's what makes it really hard when we're dealing with relationships where someone isn't necessarily like genuine or authentic or open in the beginning of the connection, is that, we think we know them, right? They show you a certain version of them, if they're kind of putting on this mask, trying to be who they think you need them to be. And then boom, like out of nowhere, you're like, wait, who is this person? I thought you were this person. And I feel like it's hard for you because you're like, well, which one are you? Was this person even real? Were all the things that we experienced, were they even real? Was that even, and we start to second guess everything. And I think that that's where we have to start looking at kind of what happens is a lot deeper than just what happens. What happens is very much on the surface. And we typically view, the first way that we view any situation is typically through the lens of our fear and our insecurity. So we typically always look at what people do from this place of like, this must have something to do with me. So when people like switch up on you or when their true colors come out, we start to go, oh, is this because you don't find me valuable? Is this because you saw who I really am and you don't love that person? Like, why am I not good enough? What does this have to do with me? And I feel like that's what has made this really complicated is this, something happened. I don't know what it was, but something happened. This tower happened. Something changed. And you've been left going, like, what's wrong with me? Or what did I do to deserve this? Or like, what could I have done differently so that this didn't happen? And I feel like there's more to it than just that. Like, and what I mean by that is I don't think it has anything to do with like you, your value, anything you did. But I feel like that's why you're having a hard time finding closure is because it's like you're looking to understand. You're trying to understand why this person did the things they did or, I think it's hard because we have to remember that not everybody has the same heart as us. And so we look at, other people's decisions through the lens of like what we would do in that position or like if other people, whatever this person did, you're like, well, I would never do that to them. I would only do that to people that I hated, or that I didn't love. Like, I can't imagine doing that to someone. And you have to understand that, first of all, this person isn't you, and you can't look at other people's actions through the lens of your own heart because other people don't always have the heart that you do. And of course, we want to always see the best in people. I think that that's important. But we also have to be willing to let people show us who they are because I think that that always is going to give us the clear answer in the end. But let's see. I'm super curious to get into this person's energy. This person's energy toward Capricorn, inevitable with the Emperor. This person's energy toward Capricorn. Temperance. In reverse. Temperance in reverse. Okay. Page of Pentacles in reverse and Five of Pentacles upright. Okay, this Page of Pentacles in reverse is this energy of like immaturity in a way. Again, to me feels like they pretended to be an emperor. That's what it feels like. They pretended to be an emperor, but then it come to find out they very much were not. And here's what's interesting is I feel like that led to something happening, like to this connection falling apart or whatever. And now they're frustrated with like you, maybe even. It's almost like they did something here and then, they pretended to be emperor. Turns out they're not, but yet they feel victimized. They feel, this is so interesting. Oh, this person is so interesting. This person's energy toward Capricorn, inevitable with the Emperor here. Six of Wands, King of Swords, and you could be dealing with a air sign, but then you also have this Queen of Cups, so you could be dealing with a water sign. You don't have to be dealing with either. This is really interesting. I'm getting, like, I have this, like, flashback. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like I think of, like olden times. This person approaches you and they pretend to be, like, wealthy and successful, and they have, you know, their shit together, and, you know, they're here to find love, and they want to be with you and all this stuff. And then, like, come to find out this person's actually just a con man. Like, they've stolen or, like, conned their way. Like, they're not actually an emperor. Six of Wands, Queen of Cups, King of Swords. I feel like this person's pretty intelligent. I don't feel like this person's emotionally intelligent. And this Queen of Cups, I feel like, I think that they wanted this connection to work. I just don't feel, it's like they knew they had to be an emperor in order to make this work, but someone can only pretend to be something that they're not for so long. So they knew that they needed to be an emperor to make this work. But then, like, that it's like they weren't actually willing to do the work to be an emperor. It's like they wanted to con their way. They wanted the easy path, right? I don't want to heal. I don't want to grow. I don't want to actually, like, learn how to love in a healthy way. I just want to put on the front as if I know how, so that I, you know, can get Capricorn to love me. I don't know. And then, like, there's a Taylor Swift lyric that comes to mind, and for those of you who know, I am a bit of a Swiftie, and I get a lot of my my messages through Taylor Swift lyrics, I think just because they're always in my head. But there's one line that's coming into my mind, and it's a con man sells a fool a get love quick scheme. And, like, the concept of that line is, like, basically, you made me think that you loved me, so I would fall for you, but then when I fell for you, you pulled away. You weren't actually looking for it long term, or you weren't looking to love. You were just looking for me to love you. Now, here's the thing. I don't actually feel like, I don't think this person was just, like, messing with you the whole time. I think that, you know, typically when you're dealing with people who kind of come from more of that background, they don't feel lovable, okay? They don't know themselves. They don't love themselves. So they feel like they have to be someone they're not in order to be lovable. Now, you, the whole time, might be like, listen, I know who you are. I see through the mask. I see exactly who you are, and I love you anyway. But they don't believe that because they don't love themselves enough to actually take off that mask and feel like you love them for who they really are. So, you know, the game that I feel like they were playing wasn't necessarily, it was like, like I said, I genuinely think they wanted to find success in this, but it just feels like they went about it the wrong way, is what I feel like it ultimately comes down to. This person's energy toward Capricorn. Eight of Wands in reverse. Star in reverse. Eight of Swords. They're like, man, why didn't that work? Why didn't that work? The Star in reverse is kind of this need, but yet maybe either refusal or lack of awareness that healing needs to be done. That there's something to learn from this. There's a way that they're needing to grow from this. And I feel like it's interesting too, because I think that a lot of, it just feels like a lot of their, like, they had expectations too. But I don't know if, like, they expected you. I don't think they expected you to see who they really were. I don't feel like they expected you to see what was really going on. So that's why you're needing to know that, like, this doesn't really have much to do with you. Like, this isn't about you not being good enough. This isn't about you. Like, I feel like this is more kind of their lack of knowing how to be in a healthy relationship and kind of going about it the wrong way. And again, this is what's so interesting is I do feel like you were like, oh, like I am their light. I see, I see who they really are, and I love them anyway. And I want to, I want to help them learn to love themselves, and I want to be there for them, and I want to, like help them in their healing journey. And maybe this person kind of masqueraded as someone who was willing to do that. Yeah, I want to grow. Yeah, I want to heal. Yeah, like I want this to work. This would be great. I love you so much. But then when it came down to it, it's like they were pretending. But not because they didn't want this to work. More because they didn't, most people don't want to face themselves. Looking within and looking at who you really are and what, like what the truth really is really, really hard to do. It's hard to take a deep look at yourself and kind of be willing to face those parts of you. And I feel like this person, it's like they wanted to become the emperor without actually doing what is necessary to become the emperor. So it's not necessarily that they were lying to you about who they were. I feel like they wanted to be that person, but they didn't go about being that person they pretended to be that person. They never actually became that person, which then eventually their true colors came out. And I feel like that's when this tower happened. And it's really difficult for you because then you're looking at this like, what did I do wrong, or why am I not good enough? You're looking at this through the lens of your fear and insecurity. And I feel like that's why you're having trouble finding closure. But the closure is in recognizing that this person, sometimes people just don't know how to love, how to give and receive love in a healthy manner. And we have to be willing to look at that from this place of, this doesn't make me unlovable. This means this person is incapable of loving me in the way that I deserve. Not that I'm incapable of being loved in the way that I deserve, which I feel like is a way that you've kind of taken this. But that's not true. But I feel like that's what's making it hard for you to find the closure, for you to find your peace with like what really went down here, for you to move forward, for you to let go. Now, even if this connection is supposed to come back together in a healthy way, there has to be a release of this connection because your connection is to the version of them that they pretended to be, right? So until they are able to like heal and uncover who they really are and step fully into that version of them, which is probably their potential that you see, right? This person that they pretended to be is probably the potential of who they can become. So it's not saying like they don't have it in them. It's that they haven't done the work to actually be able to be that person. I've used this analogy before, but wanting to love someone, sorry, I'm channeling a lot right now, so bear with me. Wanting to love someone and knowing how, or like being willing to do the work to learn how to give and receive love in a healthy way are two completely different things. And one is like someone wanting to run a marathon, but just expecting to show up on marathon day and be able to do that without any training, without putting in any of the work, without preparing at all. They just want to show up and they just want to make it work. But they're not doing the work. They're not doing the training. They're not, working on themselves and facing themselves and doing the things that are necessary to grow. So one of the things that my therapist once told me is we cannot take other people's capacity to love personally because their capacity to love is absolutely no reflection of our value. It's a reflection of where they're at. And we have to be willing to accept that and make sure that we are making the best decision for ourselves despite that. Okay, I'm cutting love readings a little bit short this week. Short, it's still a 24-minute long reading. Because I'm still trying to play catch up. I was sick, I feel like it was a month ago, but I have been trying to catch up for so long. So this will kind of help me do that. So we're going to hop on over to the extended. I'm still going to pull messages looking at the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self. So everything's going to be the same. I'm pulling 3 messages each this week instead of 6. So I'll pull 6 messages in the extended, and then I have the advice card that I'll close out with. All right. Thank you so much, Capricorn, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing on your journey moving forward. Bye, Capricorn.